NCRST in Namibia, and is also the national contact person for emergency measures, and he is part of the Formation for Development of the Namibian Biosafety Framework, and he continues to implement the Biosafety Act 2006. Mr. Mungeyi holds a master's in environmental management. He holds a master's in business administration and a Bachelor of Science in natural resources and conservation. He's currently a PhD student, and he works on bioeconomy, and he also involved in settling the national bioeconomy agenda through the coordination of various stakeholders. Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Paulus. Mr. Paulus will be talking about how to maximize bioeconomy for sustainable development in Africa, and then he'll be sharing his angle from Namibia, what he is doing in Namibia, and also he will give us a proposed strategy for West Africa. Now you can have the floor. Thank you so much, Mr. Paulus.
Right, can you see my presentation?
Yes, I can see your presentation.
All right, let me just try if I can have a full screen. All right, let me just go back.
Yes, we have a full screen.
All right. All right, good afternoon or good morning again, and good evening to all in the diasporas in the African continent. And again, happy African Day. I think, first of all, I want to thank GET for, especially Dr. Bobadoe and Ms. Arabi for really calling us for this forum. I think it couldn't come in the right time because of this celebration in African Day and really realizing opportunities for Africa. As we said, my name is Paulus Mungeyi, and I'm coming from the National Commission on Research, Science and Technology here in Namibia, which is an agency of the Minister of Higher Education, Training and Innovation. However, just to add to that again, I think it's very important for me to highlight that I'm also part of the International Advisory Council on the global bioeconomy, and also for FAO Working Group, Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. I'm really going to highlight a bit. It's very difficult, you know, to talk to the previous, when the previous speaker, Dr. Ozo, highlighted everything, and also with the massive background experience, especially in some of the sectors. But to me, I'm going to look on this by looking at the bioeconomy definition. No, it was highlighted, but I'm going to focus on some definitions. Bioeconomy strategy development process in Namibia, bioeconomy focus areas, the Namibian text, and the Maruro sector, which is one of our key, and again, an opportunity for African continent. Looking back, let me just see if I can, because I can see myself. Right, okay. Bioeconomy is the production, utilization, and conservation of biological resources, including related knowledge, science, technology, and innovation, to provide information and products processed and service across all economic sectors, aiming toward a sustainable economy. And this is a definition that was accepted or finalized at the Global Bioeconomy Summit in Berlin in 2018. So I think then really zooming into the Namibian perspective is that we have a place in terms of the policy framework. Namibia have a biotechnology policy, which with different priority areas. As part of the priority areas is a national program for research, science, technology, which ended 2017, and again backed up by the biotechnology policy of 1999. However, Namibia thought that it's very important really to take the concept further as the world evolves on taking advantage and advancing bioeconomy. Now, at the initial start, dating back between 2015 to 2017, we realized that it's very important for us to develop our bioeconomy strategy. But then it's also important to have some backgrounds on what Namibia needs and what are the possible countries that are in the forefront in terms of our national needs. And we look to those countries and we realize that South Africa and Namibia areas are talking really to poverty reduction, and also the focus area in terms of agriculture, health, and natural resources, which I think this is also in context of many African countries. And this is in line really with the national development plans toward Vision 2030, and also the presidential plan, the Harambee Prosperity Plan, that has different focus areas, and again, backed up by revised science policy, which one of the key outcomes really is to develop a national bioeconomy strategy of the country. So this is really also backed up by different indigenous knowledge systems, which is including value addition, technology transfer platform, and industrial biotechnology. Now, during the development process, really from the Namibian perspective, as a commission, there have been so many institutions that are involved. I'm just highlighting some of the key ones. For example, the Minister of Urban Rural Development, Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Environment, but these are a few ones, including again, private sectors really working toward establishing what do the Namibia need to achieve in terms of within the next 5 years, once the bioeconomy strategy is finalized. This is again, from the perspective Namibia, from different sectors established a working group, multi-sectoral working group on bioeconomy that continues to evaluate the development process, and also considering the inputs that have been suggested by different stakeholders across different regions of Namibia, of course, under the overall facilitation of the National Commission on Research, Science and Technology. Now, again, one of the inputs that I'm going to highlight thematic areas also include, please just bear with me if my time is maybe around 5 minutes, you can let me finish. You can just give me some note. But then what I was saying is that one of the inputs again is from the Sustainable Development Goal evaluation of Namibia, which highlighted that one of the key contributors to GDP in Namibia is, for example, agriculture and forestry, and also from manufacturing industry, which include livestock farming, crop farming, and all that, including fish sectors. Now, then we realized that the Namibia bioeconomy strategy for that period will set the scene for implementing programs and initiatives that will help Namibia take advantage of innovation in biotechnology and other related sectors, which including health, food security and nutrition, and manufacturing sector. So this strategy will promote the sustainable use of biological resources and address critical gaps in industries towards socioeconomic advancement, which is also including the early stage intervention of product development process, which are really some of the key challenges in the development. Now, as I said initially, the focus areas is agriculture, health, and natural resources. And this is also emanating from our key national development plans, which is Namibian National Development Plan 5, NDP 5, also backed up by other development plans, as I highlighted. Now, the suggested strategic objective, as we are currently talking, that is going to be finalized in 3 weeks' time, is value addition and employment creation, taking into account those thematic areas: environmental sustainability, research, development, and innovation, create of awareness and promote bioeconomy activities in different sectors. I mean, we as a country did not a desktop study, but a kind of a baseline study to establish what are the current programs, for example, in a country that can be made. This will assist the country in leveraging resources and maybe driving some of the opportunities from those already existing programs. And these are the ones that have been highlighted as the key ones. But I'm going to focus more, especially on value addition and employment creation, that although there are so many initiatives, suggested strategic initiatives, agriculture, for example, in agricultural sector, some of the initiatives includes develop a bush biomass value chain, which include communal farmers. Because here in Namibia, we have some bush that are really how preventing or minimizing really pastoral rents and crop rents. But then government took these initiatives of bush thinning, but then it's also very important for the community to get involved. One, these have also different spin-offs by creating, for example, employment. That's one thing. But again, these small bushes are also being used in feeds, improving nutrition of animals. We are from the arid region, and really we're experiencing anomalies of droughts, and some of these feeds can be used. And I know that Dr. Ozo also highlighted some of the biomass that could be some of the products that are coming from there, and also promotion of climate resilient crop and livestock varieties. Obviously, the world is changing. Climate changes, it's heavy. I mean, doubt of the obvious that is one of the challenges the African continent is experiencing in the world at large. However, we need to keep up with the climate change by providing some of the solutions. And under health, there's enhance and promote pharmaceutical products through bioinnovation of indigenous biological resources, including microorganisms, plant and animals. Meaning that we have a lot of potential. I mean, COVID taught us a lesson that we have a lot of possible plants that could have of pharmaceutical advantage, and we have to draw that rather than getting our products, for example, getting out of the country and become medicine imported, and then we consume them. And the other one under natural resource management is support development of sustainable value chain based on non-timber and forest products and wildlife in conservation of community and forest. Meaning that there are, for example, fruits that will some be called wild fruits or wild plants of certain advantage. And these want communities, those communities that are living through that, really to have some benefits, and also finding those products they have seen a market. Now, the strategy again have a strategic objective of research, development, and innovation, meaning that still within those sectors, it's very important that some of the initiatives include research that strengthen agricultural bioscience innovation to ensure food security, enhance nutrition, and improve health. And again, research and development of pharmaceuticals, innovation and research of our natural resources to improve and production of our own medicines. And then under natural resources, one of the initiatives, again, this is, I said, this among many initiatives, but I'm only highlighting it for the forum. Develop innovative digital value chain based on biodiversity, thereby diversifying income stream and mitigation risk and external shocks. Because a lot of, for example, products that have been produced by local or rural communities, it's difficult to get to them on a market. However, as we are working toward the fourth industrial revolution, digitalization is one of the key. And rural communities obviously have some of the technologies, again, enabling, for example, phones, just a matter of developing some of apps so that you can assist these communities and get their products on the market. Now, what we foresee at the end of this is of the strategies to help these sectors with their implementation programs. And some may include also having some of the research programs, private-public partnership platforms, because there are institutions, private, that want to upscale. However, the public also need to be involved in some technology station programs, initiatives. And then at the end, you have evaluation of those based on the guideline that have set up. Now, I highlighted the thematic areas for Namibia, but I think it's very important to give an example to what the strategy, practical example to what the strategy is going to envisage. I'm going to talk about one of the local plants, indigenous plants in the Southern Africa, which is called Scerocaria birai and Maroro sector. And this is already a developed kind of to a certain level, whereby different communities, it's found, for example, in Namibia and also in Angola part, Zambia, Botswana, part of Mozambique, Swaziland, South Africa, with different benefits, economic benefits. However, with this sector development, you can have so many products and spin-offs, meaning from the usage of traditional knowledge, from the pharmaceutical knowledge usage. This will, if you have a bioeconomy, then you can share ideas in terms of really using it sustainably, and again, in case of using the product to take it to the market. Now, the Maroro is rich natural boundaries, as I said, and is widely distributed in those regions. The sector has a potential to stimulate rural development, job creation, and new export. The sector will require evidence-based ecology, economy, and social baseline data and monitoring. And the short-term market access initiative that may be assisted by developing representative platform or prototypes. So I will just have this screenshot again. If you can see on top of the left side of your screen on top, those are some of the products in Maroro oil that have been produced for the food. It can also be used for food, but I have to believe this is cosmetic ones. And the bioeconomy is really also set up in terms of the Food and Agriculture Organization guideline. This is a document that has been written by Bodansky, Malta, and Du Bois, I have to believe, with 15 aspiration criteria developing bioeconomy. And some of the aspirations are the ones that I have highlighted in line or in linking it to the Maroro sector, that where food security and nutrition addressed, efficiency in the use of resource and the biomass of the resource again, existing local knowledge, because these are also where communities, for example, rural communities, cultural values are being drawn from, because they have juice that have been harvested during certain periods and used in so many cultural activities. And there is also effective governance really in terms of protecting this resource. And this is just one of the initiatives that is also working towards so many indigenous local communities in Namibia, facilitated by GIZ in Namibia, but you can also get linked. I will share the economy. Now, with what I have said, I think it's very important, in line with the title of this presentation, to look at the opportunity for Africa. I have to believe that you can all agree with me that in recent time, the ideology has shifted and more countries want to use their biological resources in more inclusive and sustainable manner. And this, I think this is a bioeconomy platform. Now, I also want to give you an example that is just a snapshot that I took from the Rockefeller Foundation on the platform. There's a link that I have been provided there. I'm not sure if the correct information, but I think it is, because it's accessible to everyone. That really, in terms of the African continent, there's a lot of food losses and waste in global. It's a global problem, including the African continent. Like 40% of staple food in sub-Saharan Africa are lost before they can even hit the market, right? Storage is one of the key. How to preserve them, it's another one, meaning that there's really a potential for existing technology and training used in the developing country to help minimizing this hit. And I don't want to really overemphasize hunger and malnutrition affecting the African continent. However, there's an opportunity 470 million smallholder farmers tend to see an increase in income by preventing this crop losses through many initiatives. And I think one of the initiatives is through really bioeconomy initiatives. We are just coming from a pandemic as an Africa, as a world, but I'm sure that you can also agree with me that African have been also being impacted much more, which I also know that I perhaps directly linked to GET core mandates, perhaps if one can put it, that really creating pharmaceutical products, one of the key vaccines. And all the African continent, when we have been struggling with COVID, I have also to bring to your attention that when we have been developing or going to different regions in Namibia, almost 80% of everyone from the team that went unfortunately contracted COVID, and it was very unfortunate. But this slide is really saying that more than 172,000 deaths in Africa, which is accounting for 4%. And this was reported by World Health Organization at the end of August. One can already see that with our health sectors, is still it's not really coming out, but bioeconomy through some initiative, I think it's an opportunity for us really to relook at this. What have again highlighted by Dr. Ozo is the development of East African bioeconomy in a team at the International Advisory Council Bioeconomy with Dr. Julius Ekulu, who is also part of this. But then the bioeconomy for East Africa, they really seeking low emission pathway from the start, and also linking farmer to new value chain, incentivizing the informal sectors and productive partnerships. Now, I think this is again an opportunity for the whole African continent, including the West African continent, the West African countries, maybe perhaps at the regional level, and also from the Southern African perspective, because this discussion is mostly perhaps between countries, but we are taking example from the leaders of Africa, but it's also very important for us to discuss it at the regional level, as the SADC level, as regional countries. I also want to give an example of from the Bio Consortium in EU, what bioeconomy is bringing in 2.43 trillion euros, emerging from all these used pharmaceuticals, chemical, plastics, papers, agriculture, forest, food products, etc. So you can really see the figures, the potentials, what countries can get. It's not gonna be easy. Obviously, you need fundings, you need innovators, you need trainings, you need some investments. That's what you need, but you have to start as a continent. And I also want to give you what you see there is the status of the bioeconomy across the countries. That meaning that countries that have certain related policies or programs, not really as bioeconomy strategies, but countries with related programs that can be upscaled to a certain level. But then when you can see the African continent, we are still not emulating the concept. You can also get this link from, I'm going to share with the link at the end of the presentation, which is currently here. Now, I think I will not do justice if I did not share with you the upcoming forum, which is World Bioeconomy Forum, I think happening in September. That is the first link that I have shared, but it's also very important for you also to get acquainted with International Advisory Council Global Bioeconomy Summits. You can get some of the documentations there and some of the information, because you can also get linked to other bioeconomy related activities globally. And they also, in some of the work that have been produced by really FAO and by a Sustainable Working Group team, you can also get some links there. Before I close up, if I have maybe 1 minute, because it's African Day today, Namibia is on holiday, we're on holiday today, I really want to maybe draw to your attention one of the great leaders, African leaders from Guinea-Conakry, former President Ahmed Sékou Touré, said that we should go down to the grassroots of our culture, not to remain there, to be isolated there, but to draw strength and substance therefrom, and with whatever additional sources of strength and material we acquire, proceed to set up new form of society raised to the level of human progress. And I have to believe that bioeconomy, it's just one of the enablers to take our continent to a certain level, to advance socially and to get out of poverty and to be healthy, independent. I thank you very much, and thank you.